What if 12 independent investigations, spanning forensic hematology, biochemistry, archaeology, computational linguistics, and ancient textile analysis, all pointed to the same conclusion? Not approximately, not loosely, but with statistical force between 3.7 and 4.6 sigma, the threshold physicists used to declare a discovery? That is what the NITED synthesis report now documents. 12 Shield Protocol 14.0 methods cards. 14 source documents. Over 32,000 verses from the Urim Thummim version of the Hebrew Scriptures. Every deterministic verdict came back affirmative. Every SELAH conscience check confirmed. Every draw classified as a strong or extreme anomaly, departing from random chance with a mean chi-squared of 56.14. The probability of this convergence occurring by accident is functionally zero. Let me walk you through what was found. We begin at the surface of the cloth itself. There is a Hebrew verb, kabas, meaning to wash or tread garments. It appears 51 times across the corpus, and every single occurrence describes the same action, altering the surface of something while preserving what lies beneath. The outer layer changes. The inner structure remains. Now listen to what the forensic textile scientists found. The image on the Shroud of Turin forms through selective degradation of the pectin and hemicellulose layer, the outermost coating of each linen fiber, at a depth of roughly 0.2 of a micrometer. The cellulose core beneath, completely untouched. The ancient Hebrew text and 21st century infrared spectroscopy converge on the same mechanism. Surface changed, structure preserved. There is a verse in the UTV, number 8506, that speaks of a thread of flax being broken when it touches fire. Without prior consecration, the fiber disintegrates. With it, the fiber endures. And the shroud linen, if it truly survived a theorized 34 terawatt vacuum ultraviolet radiation burst, did so because the energy was selectively absorbed by that pectin layer and went no deeper. The text describes exactly the mechanism the physics demands. Then came the architectural question. How was the image formed? Was it pressed? Was it painted? Was it sculpted? The Hebrew word tavnit, divine architectural pattern, appears throughout the scriptures describing how the Almighty transmits design. And every time, the mechanism is the same, relational coordinates, not physical contact. Between the cherubim. At the appointed time. Through granted perception. Never through mechanical impression. Never through direct touch. This demolishes the bas-relief hypothesis, the idea that someone carved a heated sculpture and pressed linen against it to produce the image. The corpus-attested pattern for divine blueprints operates through orthogonal projection, energy radiating outward from a source, encoding distance as luminance. And that is precisely what the shroud's three-dimensional data reveals when subjected to principal component analysis. The spatial information is encoded entirely in the image's brightness, not in color, not in pigment, but in how much each fiber was altered based on its distance from the body. This is not a painting. This is not a rubbing. This is a radiation map. Now consider where this cloth has been. The 2024 and 2025 excavations beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, conducted by Sapienza University, identified Iron Age quarry fill that had been repurposed as a cultivated garden. They recovered pollen from olive, grape, and fig. John chapter 19, verse 41 says plainly, "In the place where he was crucified, there was a garden." The archaeological stratigraphy now confirms it. And the aragonite limestone particles embedded in the shroud match the exact mineralogical signature of the tombs near the Damascus Gate. Combined with the Jerusalem-specific pollen profile, this creates an unbroken geographic chain placing the cloth in a 1st century Judean garden tomb. European medieval origin? The geology says otherwise. But perhaps the most startling discovery came from the teeth. High-resolution odontological analysis of the shroud image reveals the lower teeth, the mandibular incisors, visible through closed lips. The upper teeth remain concealed behind the denser tissue of the upper lip and mustache. Think about what that means. Whatever energy formed this image penetrated soft tissue selectively. It passed through the thin lower lip but was attenuated by the thicker upper structures. Chemical dyes cannot do this. Paint cannot do this. Contact impression cannot do this. This is tissue-penetrating, geometrically attenuated radiation, behaving with characteristics analogous to X-rays, yet encoding the information as surface discoloration on linen fibers 0.2 of a micrometer deep. The blood tells its own story. Multiple studies confirm that the shroud's bloodstains exhibit serum retraction rings and sharp margins, hallmarks of real blood that dried and clotted on the cloth before the body image ever formed. Blood first, image second. No forger works in that sequence. You do not paint blood onto a blank cloth and then somehow project an image underneath it without disturbing the stain borders. And the blood was never washed off. Under standard Jewish burial custom, a body would be washed. But rabbinic law makes a specific exception for victims of violent death with catastrophic blood loss. The lifeblood must be buried with the body. The intact serum borders on the shroud confirm that exception was honored. This was a crucifixion victim buried according to Jewish law. The lance wound, recorded in John chapter 19, verse 34, produced both blood and clear fluid. If that separation is preserved on this cloth, it functions as a forensic death certificate. Not a swoon. Not a fainting. A true, complete, physiological death. And the wound pattern across the scalp tells a story most artists missed entirely. Traditional iconography depicts a ring of thorns, a simple circlet. But the blood flow patterns on the shroud reveal a full cap of thorns covering the entire cranium. This is typological completeness. Genesis chapter 3, verse 18 pronounced the curse, "Thorns and thistles shall the ground bring forth." The one who bore that curse bore its totality, not a partial token. The full measure. Now, someone might reasonably ask, could the SHIELD protocol itself be producing these results? Could the methodology be generating false positives? That question was tested directly. When the protocol processed a control corpus of medieval authentication documents, texts with no connection to resurrection theology, the statistical metrics stayed flat at baseline. No anomalous convergence. No false positive signal on miraculous themes. The system specificity was confirmed. What it detects in the shroud-related draws is not an artifact of the method. It is a genuine signal unique in its density, polarity, and multi-channel convergence. And all of this was hidden in plain sight for 18 centuries. The image on the shroud is a photographic negative, dark where a photograph would be light, light where it would be dark. No one knew. No one could have known. Not until 1898, when Secondo Pia placed his photographic plate in the developing solution and saw, for the first time in history, the positive image staring back at him from the silver emulsion. The SHIELD protocol identifies this as the appointed time unveiling. Secrets kept deep until the technological generation could receive them. A silver-based photographic process, itself a consecrated material, revealing what had been encoded for the exact moment humanity possessed the tools to see it. 12 draws. 12 affirmative verdicts. A mean normalized relevance index of 609% above baseline. Sigma values from 3.7 to 4.6. Every conscience check confirmed. Every anomaly classification at strong or extreme. When the textile science, the archaeology, the forensic hematology, the radiation physics, the odontology, the computational linguistics, and the ancient Hebrew lexicon all converge, independently, across different disciplines, through different methodologies, on the same unified testimony, you are no longer looking at coincidence. You are looking at a covenantal blueprint written in linen and light. The cloth that wrapped the body. The energy that formed the image. The blood that sealed the witness. The geology that anchors the location. The timing that revealed the secret. Surface changed. Structure preserved. Pattern appointed. Witness confirmed. SELAH.